Hello everyone, my name is Carlie Hamilton and this is a layout process video for one of the pages in my career album. This is a layout that I did earlier in the month of April 2014 and it features the palace in Seoul. So this is after we've just walked through the entrance and sort of like the first time we're through the gate, and this is what we saw. And it's actually, if I remember correctly, it's one picture of us looking out at what we see, and then later on after walking across there, I turn back and take the second photos, me looking back at the main gate. That's just from my vague memory, so hopefully I'm right there. Now this layout, I've used a whole heap of scraps, some of them older scraps, some of them scraps I just had on my desk from a previous layout that I just did, which was the vending machine layout, which I do have a process video on. So yeah, I've done a mixture, and also using some of my last sheets of this old pack from Die Cuts with a View, an old Asia pack. And I have a lot of photos that I wanted to get on this page, but they didn't end up all going on. So those ones to the side there were of me and my friends having some fun near the entrance with a whole heap of poles and things, but it didn't end up making it onto this page. I just couldn't make it work. I also, speaking of scraps, I also pull out my scrap folders where I keep a whole heap of scraps in these document wallets. So I pull some out from my yellow one, and I pull out some from my green one, and I start to play around with how I'm going to lay these all down. And let me say, this layout sort of, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it at the time. So I ended up walking away and leaving it alone. I can't even remember now how long I left it, maybe a day or two, and ended up coming back later. So here you can see with the change of camera, I've come back to it. And with a fresh mind and everything, and I think things come together much better now. One of the things I guess before was I was just playing around with paper and I just couldn't decide on anything. So what I started to do was just say screw it, and I just started to stick down stuff, not even caring. So if you are feeling a little bit like it's just not working, just start sticking things down. Who cares? So because I've stuck in that triangle sort of shaped paper because there's some of my scraps, and I felt that I like the colors went, but it sort of got lost on that background piece of paper. So I decided to outline all my scraps there with a pen, and that just helps lift this off the page, make it more defined, and give my whole page a bit more depth. So I outline all those scraps around the edge, and then I decide to do the same with the actual mat that my photos are on. Now I needed to balance out my other side with a bit more of that paper, so I add another scrap to it. Because it was a triangle shape, I just chop off a bit of the edges there just so that it looks like it's more straight, and then I add an outline to that one as well. Now this layout actually took me 1 hour and 23 minutes. And that's not including the break. That's just the 2 recordings that I made of this, how long it took when I added them to my player here. So that is quite a long time for me. At the moment, I'm sort of averaging around 1 hour to make a layout. So quite a long time. And I think a lot of it was that starting bit. I was just umming and ahhing. And the other reason why this took a little bit longer was because I decided to go through my stash, which you can see I'm starting to pull out here, and trying to use up some of my older travel products. I have a whole drawer in my embellishment center, in my embellishment drawers. I've got another video on how I store my embellishments, so you can check that out. But yeah, I've got a whole drawer dedicated to travel. And in my earlier scrapbooking years, I would just buy everything travel, even though, even if it didn't really suit what my style is. So I've got all these travel things now that didn't really suit me back then, and they definitely don't suit me back now. But I am trying to use them up, sort of trying to force myself to use them. And it is a good thing to try and force yourself to use things, because sometimes things turn out amazing like you never thought that they would. And other times they turn out horrible, and you can learn to never do that again. So this tray here is from my drawer full of all my travel stuff. So you can see all the travel things that I have. Lots of vellum words, like things on vellum, and I used a whole heap of that up in my Japan album, and it sort of made me fall in love with vellum words. So I do hope that these kind of word packs full of vellum, I hope they come back in style, because they were really fun to use, even though this pack here was totally not my colors that I like. I could make them work, so they were a lot of fun to use. So yeah, you can see a whole heap of really, really old stuff in there. Some tags. I can't even remember where those tags are from. These are some around the block, like cut aparts I've done from a cut apart sheet. And then some like stickers that I've cut off, and some shape stickers there. There we go. I'm packing it all back up, and I've pulled out some stuff that I might use on the page, and I think most of it doesn't actually end up on the page. So I'm rubbing on a rub-on, and it's one of those really old ones that it just completely did not work. It just looked like a mess. Half of it didn't rub off, and so I tried to scratch a bit off with my scissors, and I know that I could have just used my eraser and probably could have got it off, but it wasn't handy, so oh well. And then I just put another rub-on over the top of it. And the rub-on I put on the top of it, I think it was like a yellow color, so it doesn't stand out much, which is okay, which is fine. Sticking down the doilies, and then I'm going to start to make a cluster on this section, on that bottom section there. So I've got that vellum piece there, and I just stick it down with a bit of my double-sided tape. I actually do have some vellum tape, but I find that you can actually see it just as much as my double-sided tape, so that my vellum tape is sitting in the bottom of one of my my boxes full of a whole heap of other stuff that I'll use one day. So I'm sticking down my whole big piece of paper now. I feel like I've done enough that I'm not going to need to add really anything more under it. So I stick it down, but I don't go right to the sides, so I could theoretically stick some more things under it. This is my Maggie Holmes flea market chipboard thingy, and what I like to do is I like to cut out my chipboard from the sheet, just so that I can play around with moving it around the page. But it turns out to be such a huge pain with this one, only because like the back of it, you can't quite see where the shape is, and I guess because it's probably a good quality piece, that it's really hard to cut through the backing. So what I do now is I actually just pull off the shape and stick it onto a bit of plastic, and that way I can move it around the page that way, instead of just chopping the whole back bit out. I'm also pulling out now a whole heap of things from my embellishment center. So to the right of me on my desk, I have this little embellishment center, and I actually have a video on that as well. And I like to populate this center with a whole heap of stuff that might be going, that might suit the project I'm working on at the time. And it's basically just a tray full of other little trays, and each tray holds something specific. So they're my bigger die cuts that I have. I have one with stickers, one with dimensional embellishments, and then I just go through each tray and pull out things that I think might go with the page. So I've pulled out like a vellum strip there, and I've got like a wood veneer tag thing there that I'm going to stick down. And right now I'm just trying to work out how on earth I can make these clusters work together. And as you can see, I paused a fair bit there. I think I thought that through too much, and then I just gave up and decided to stick everything down. As you can see, I'm struggling with getting the backing of my double-sided tape off there. And that is the downfall of using double-sided tape, is that I think with this one it wasn't sticking very well to the wood, so I kept on pulling the sticky bit stuff off with the backing. But in any case, I find that double-sided tape is the cheapest option for me for sticking down. Even though it's not the most convenient, it does take up a lot of time, but I can get them for $1 per roll. And you know, I haven't done a comparison of other methods. I used to have one of those Herma Dotto rollers. I still have it, but I found that I was just going through it so quickly, and each like roll refill, it was just too much money. I find that I'm getting much better value for money, at least it seems like it to me, out of the double-sided tape. So actually last time I ran out of a roll, I've made a note of it, so I'm going to see how many layouts I actually do between rolls, and I will let you know. So I'm just adding all these random things to that cluster, and I know that there's a bit of like space in that makes it odd, but I have a faith that I'm going to find something to fill up those spaces. And I do in this box here is full of all my little tiny die cuts and stickers and things, and so I just pull out random tags and things that I can stick into those spaces to make this whole thing work. Now this layout was number 68 for this year, 2014. And I did it in early April, so about a month ago now. And I really, really loved this layout at the time, and I still do love it. But I just think, looking back at these older layouts, I just really love seeing how my work has evolved in just a month. And I can see sort of the fads and the phases that I go through. So even if you are not wanting to start your own YouTube channel, definitely go back, like record what days you do layouts and go back and have a look at them. And you'll be like amazed at how much your style can change within a month. I think this page is definitely like me. I look at it and I see me, and I see elements of me in future layouts that I've done, but I don't know, it just, there's something about it just feels already dated. So I sped up this bit really, really quickly, and I'm just writing my my journaling down. Basically in this journaling bit I just blabbed on whatever came to my head at the time. I did not think about it at all first, and maybe I should have thought it through a bit more, but oh well. I wrote, through the entrance of the gates, it is strange to think what this would have been like in ancient times. It is also strange how similar yet different it is from Japan. I love how the city is right up against this ancient wonder. This entrance barely shows what wonders are inside. So now I'm getting to the end of the layout, and I just need to do my title. and I really want to use these old basic grey stickers. So I stare at them for a long time trying to work out what I can use from the letters that I have available to me. And I decided to call my title Walk Right In. I don't know how. Maybe because walk was there and I just tried to come up with something that was similar to that. Uh, so I use them up for walk, and then I use my little tile stickers from October Afternoon. Now, around this time, I had an awful habit of picking letters that really blended in with the background. So in this case, I actually got out my Sharpie and went around the outside of the walk, and that helped it pop out from the background, just like the layers of my matting of my photo did. So that's coming to the end of my layout now, and I will show you some close-ups and some photos at the very end. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. Please do let me know what you think in the comments below. I love hearing everything you have to say, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to comment. You guys are wonderful. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. You can also check out more about this layout and everything else that I do at my blog, which is createmess.com. I'll have a link down below. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video where we can get messy together. Bye!